sisters, brothers and comrades, मेरे पास हिंदी नहीं है, थोड़ा मलयालम है, वो यहाँ नहीं चलेगा। मेरे अंग्रेजी भी बहुत बुरा है, लेकिन हमारा जो भाषा है, संघर्ष का भाषा, ये एक है। Friends and comrades, it is indeed inspiring to speak few words after the performance of Jananatya Manch. I remember many decades ago, exactly in the year 1979, when as the President of Students' Federation of India, when I started working from Delhi, I got introduced to the strengths of street theatre through performances of Comrade Safdar Hashmi. Mala was also there those days, and other friends. I remember a performance titled Machine. Have you ever seen that, Machine?
Yes.
Yes, many of you might have seen. Which very powerfully depicts what is happening in the field of education. How, through the process of education, students are converted into products. And today, many decades after those times, the same process is happening in more crude and atrocious manner. Now we are here in the midst of a struggle. In this struggle, we lose some of our comrades, like Rohit Vemula, but we lose such comrades due to the machinations of the exploitative, oppressive system, inhuman system, which wants to grow by eating away the most outstanding sons and daughters of our society. The system which is only concerned about maximization of profit for capital, and they worship capital. That is why Noam Chomsky summarized the entire process and problem before the modern society, modern capitalist society, as that of the efforts of profit to dominate over people. One of the titles of his very famous book is Profit Over People. So what is happening in Jawaharlal Nehru University has to be viewed in the right perspective. And you are all capable of viewing it in the right perspective. There is a very huge threat of fascistic trends. I, at this point of time, pay tribute to one of the great thinkers and novelists of modern era who died yesterday night, Umberto Eco. He had written about various traits of fascism. He has pointed out 14 characteristics of fascism. It is available in web. I hope some of you would discuss that. Many of you might have already read. If time permit, I would briefly make a revisit to that topic. I have few points to mention in that context. So we can very well understand why Narendra Modi, the present Prime Minister of our country, unfortunately, just think of the manner in which he captured power. First of all, he consolidated himself through carrying out massacre in the state of Gujarat, the state which gave birth to Mahatma Gandhi. You just think of that hapless pregnant woman who was subjected to most brutal torture, piercing her womb, taking out the baby, killing that baby. What did that woman and that still unborn baby, what was their crime? What was their sin? They happened to be identified as belonging to a minority community. Just think of what Rohit Vemula wrote. My birth is my problem. So, thousands of innocent people have been massacred there in the name of Godra. Here Umberto Eco, his thesis, what he summarized as the characteristics of fascism. Double speak. Why Mahatma Gandhi was murdered? There were many attempts. We don't have to go into all those details again and again. But now what we should remember is, when Kanhaiya Kumar, our beloved comrade, is accused of being anti-national by certain segments of society, the same people are trying to erect a memorial for Nathuram Vinayak Godse, who murdered Mahatma Gandhi. So once you remember this, we can easily understand why and how this is happening. But this is not only the design, the grand design of these forces of fascistic trend. And we should also remember that they have not established fascism as yet. Therefore, we are able to stand here and question them. But we don't know at this rate how long we would be able to enjoy this freedom enshrined in our Republican Constitution. They are in the process of taking away civil liberties, human rights, and democratic rights enshrined in Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is not just the product of the Constituent Assembly alone. That Constituent Assembly itself was partially handicapped, who all had voting rights and things like that. But still, as a result of the influence of the anti-imperialist freedom struggle and the international situation, all that impacted upon the framing of our Constitution. Therefore, certain democratic rights, civil liberties and human rights, thanks to the presence of Bhimrao Ambedkar, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Somanath Lahiri was there, Hasrat Mohani was there, the person who moved for complete independence in an AICC session, Comrade Hasrat Mohani. He was also an elected member of the Constituent Assembly with lot of limitations. We are, those who are assembled here, most of us are looking forward to a situation when this Constitution can be further strengthened with the aspirations of people. The shortcomings and limitations of this Constitution can be handled in a democratic process. But these forces who are trying to erect a memorial for Nathuram Vinayak Godse in India, and the ruling party, whose Lok Sabha member without any compunction and feeling of shame stated that Nathuram Vinayak Godse is also a Deshabhakt like Mahatma Gandhi. They stated that. Now they are targeting one institution after another institution. Reference has been made about Hyderabad Central University, Pune Film and Television Institute, what has happened in Jadavpur University the other day, what is happening with the institutions which used to have outstanding intellectuals and cultural figures as the head of those institutions, which are being now filled by this government with people of questionable integrity and caliber and competence. So, one by one, they are trying to capture, infiltrate, and control institutions. The present Prime Minister, for the first time when he was entering the Parliament building, he stooped and kissed the Parliament House building. He's a wonderful actor, perhaps. But I immediately felt Nathuram Vinayak Godse, before taking out his pistol and shooting down Mahatma Gandhi, he also stooped before Mahatma Gandhi. This is what I remember. So he is stooping before Parliament to subvert Parliament. We may have our own questions in that context. But just imagine, I used to be told about the times, earlier times, when Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister and Comrade A Gopalan, with not sufficient command over the English language, but more than sufficient command over the problems of the people of our country. Comrade A.K.G. used to stand up and intervene. And we know Prime Ministers are having lot of responsibilities those days, but not like engaging in continuous foreign jaunts, what the present Prime Minister is doing. Pandit Nehru used to work for 18, 20, 22 hours. But when Pandit Nehru with some work moves out of the Lok Sabha, but if he happens to see that A.K. Gopalan is standing up to raise some issue, then Pandit Nehru would come back and occupy his seat and listen to what A.K.G. had to say. This is what very senior journalists used to tell me when I happened to be a member of Rajya Sabha. Then Pandit Nehru would stand up and respond to the issue raised by Comrade A.K. Gopalan and other senior members also, not just A.K. Gopalan. Now, have you seen the present Prime Minister speaking on the floor of the House? Very rarely. Unilaterally he would speak sometime, but he would never respond. But he speaks. When he had the captive, organized, Sangha Parivar orchestrated audience within the country and outside, there he makes unilateral speeches without any questions. So the essence of Parliament function is question and answer. People's representatives raise the issues on the floor of the House and Prime Minister or the concerned minister giving reply there. This is not happening. So this is a silent subversion of the parliamentary system that is happening in Indian Parliament today. And like I am told, Professor Prabhat Patnaik, while speaking here or in this campus, stated that what is happening in JNU and various other places of our country, the Sangha Parivar project being implemented. This Sangha Parivar project is to effect an insurrection against the democratic content of Indian Constitution. Whatever is there democratic. An insurrection is being unleashed by the powers that be. This is what is happening. And there are parallels between what the Sangha Parivar is doing here and what the predecessors of Sangha Parivar in Germany and Italy used to do. Here, you all know how a story has been concocted. Now, graphic evidence is available in social media. I have seen how interpolation has happened. Comrade Kanhaiya Kumar shouting, Asadi from Manuvad, Asadi from RSS, all that. We all fight for an egalitarian society. That was the slogan. That Asadi part has been taken, and their mischievous, incendiary portion is being interpolated there using technology. And you know, the present Prime Minister actually survives on Photoshop. When he visited the flood affected areas, that was newspapers, journalists, they have brought it out. So photoshopping is what they are very capable of. They want to convert our universities into education shops. For that, they are taking recourse to photoshopping. And they want to do away with the democratic forces in universities. They have taken a leaf from what had happened in Germany. It is quite coincidental that all this is happening in the month of February. In the year 1933, 27th February, same month, German parliament building was set on fire. Reichstag. Then Hitler comes out with evidence that communists set German parliament into fire. Georgy Dimitrov, communist leader, and many other communists, they were accused. But of course they came out with proof and turned the tables over the fascistic forces who concocted all this. Later, what Fidel Castro stated, history will absolve me. Georgy Dimitrov also stated the same idea. The same Reichstag had the red flag hoisted by the Red Army on 9th May 1945. Communists and left forces never destroy anything. They would only construct new society. Now Comrade Kanhaiya Kumar is in the Tihar jail. Comrade Kanhaiya Kumar has become the symbol of the indomitable courage that the progressive student movement is having. In another country, Vietnam, a name familiar, very familiar to you, I'm sure, Ho Chi Minh, Uncle Ho. He was also in jail. He was a poet too. Ho Chi Minh wrote, I remember a sentence, those who are being jailed, this is the words of Ho Chi Minh, those who are being jailed, they have the ability to construct nations. This is what Ho Chi Minh had written. Ho Chi Minh had written that for many comrades who were in jails. Lenin was in jail. Fidel was in jail. Nelson Mandela was in jail for 28 years. I'm sure many of you are not 28-year-old. So just imagine. More than your lifespan, Mandela had to be in jail. And what was the accusation against Mandela? By the racist regime of South Africa? You know, anti-national. Sedition was the charge sheet against Nelson Mandela. So we should perhaps, in a way, we can also say that we should thank the racist forces who take over power in different parts of the globe, perhaps including India for the time being, for having charge-sheeted Comrade Kanhaiya Kumar with treason, sedition, the same charge which was concocted against Nelson Mandela. Now, what they are planning is not only to divide Indian society on communal lines, not only launch assault against the democratic process and the constitution, but also they have an economic program. I don't want to go into the details of that economic program, but we should remember, for the land mafia, they in fact introduced an ordinance giving full freedom to land mafia within our country and outside to take over land of peasants without even giving compensation. But Indian peasants got organized, like how Indian students are getting organized now. And through the massive nationwide united mobilization of Indian peasants, the so-called powerful Indian Prime Minister had to withdraw that ordinance, and we were able to defeat this Narendra Modi government. Indian peasants were capable of defeating them. So if Indian peasants could successfully fight and defeat a very retrogressive, pro-rich, anti-peasant ordinance which they have issued, we don't have any doubt that the Indian student community, the united Indian student movement, with the support of the working class, with the support of peasantry, with the support of all toiling masses, and with the support of the progressive cultural segments of Indian society, like Jananatya Manch, we would be able to defeat the pro-rich economic policies and educational policies that Narendra Modi government is trying to perpetuate on Indian society. We don't have any doubt about that. Friends, now paying tribute to Umberto Eco, I would just like to bring to your notice few incisive observations about how fascism operates in modern times. I don't want to go into the entire details because of paucity of time. But he has enumerated 14 different forms of fascistic intervention and penetration in society. Irrationalism also depends on the cult of action for action's sake. That is point number 3, where it is quite interesting that a reference would appear to be quite a parallel to this Jawaharlal Nehru University. I read that particular portion. Therefore, culture is suspect insofar as it is identified with critical attitudes. Distrust of the intellectual world has always been a symptom of fascism. He uses the term eternal fascism. From Hermann Georg's fondness for a phrase from a Hans Jost play, when I hear the word culture, I reach for my gun. This is a quotation. to the frequent use of such expressions as degenerate intellectuals, eggheads, effete snobs, and here comes the most important thing, and universities are nests of rats. The accusation is, first of all, culture is almost like an obscene word, and they think that if somebody utters culture, my hand should go for gun, for the pistol, keeping Nathuram Vinayak Godse as the guru. Then intellectuals cannot be tolerated, and universities are nets of rats. Then comes, in modern culture, the scientific community praises disagreement as a way of improving knowledge. But for eternal fascism, disagreement is treason. This is exactly what is happening in our country. Why Kalburgi was murdered? Why Mohan Bansare was shot dead? Why Dhabokla could not leave? They didn't have any personal enmity with them. But they doubt, they question. Here those of us who hold Kanhaiya Kumar with great inspiration, we discuss and debate. We have differences. Those who are assembled here, they are all not following a single ideology. We question each other. At times we question ourselves. This is how we progress. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in whose name this university is known for the entire world, Nehru visualized universities as places where new ideas are germinating, new ideas take shape, and universities are in fact centers for battleground. This is what Sangha Parivar disdains. This is what Sangha Parivar cannot tolerate. As they are unable to tolerate a democratic society, we understand that many those who are part of Sangha Parivar, some of them through the process of battle of ideas which we wage, some of them would question themselves and change their position. I have read in social media that couple of ABVP activists have tendered their resignation from ABVP and stated that we cannot tolerate with this kind of atrocities being carried out. Therefore, friends and comrades, we are extremely confident and sure that our struggle would be successful. We shall overcome, no doubt about that. Let us extend our solidarity with our jailed comrade Kanhaiya Kumar. We demand Government of India to drop all the charges against the students who are being charge sheeted. We have one more demand. There has to be an inquiry. On what basis these charges have been concocted? Who are responsible for this? Something highly illegal, illegitimate, and unlawful has happened just under the nose of the central government. That is wrongly charge sheeting a democratically elected president of Jawaharlal Nehru University. If Narendra Modi is the elected Prime Minister of our country, Kanhaiya Kumar is the elected president of Jawaharlal Nehru University. I don't forget that if law had taken its due course, then there are, if you remember what had happened in Gujarat when Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister, there are grounds for charge sheeting Narendra Modi for massacre of thousands of people in Gujarat. Such a person who should have been himself got charge sheeted. He is presiding over a system and he is charge sheeting an innocent, brave student leader and his friends. We are not going to tolerate this. We have to carry on our struggle, and the entire democratic society of our country, not just our country, Noam Chomsky, Orhan Pamuk, so many outstanding people of the world, they have extended their solidarity with Kanhaiya Kumar. We too extend our solidarity. We shall overcome. With these few words I conclude. Thank you very much, Lal Sabha.